Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 7 p.m. on LA56.
A Laguna Hills woman vanishes on Valentine's weekend. Investigators say her ex-boyfriend was the last person to see her. 2 NFL teams in the LA area? It's a possibility, with both the Chargers and the Raiders playing in a new stadium being proposed in Carson. Hollywood's biggest night is just around the corner, and now there's new technology to help you share your favorite red carpet looks immediately. Good evening, I'm David Ono. Welcome to Eyewitness News at LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. An Orange County family is frantic with worry following the disappearance of a 27-year-old woman the morning after Valentine's Day. Investigators say her former boyfriend was the last person to see her before she vanished. Orange County Bureau Chief Eileen Frere has the latest on the search.
Family members comfort each other outside the Orange County Sheriff's Department. Their loved one, Erica Alonso, missing since last Sunday.
It's very unlikely for her not to contact us, to be gone for so many days. We just want her home. We miss her so much.
The 27-year-old lives with her family in Laguna Hills. Her sister says Alonso met her ex-boyfriend for a lunch date Valentine's Day that lasted into the evening.
I know she really loved him and cared for him a lot.
But her sister says the relationship was on again, off again for 2 years.
They were very much alike, which isn't always a good thing, but she loved them.
Saturday night, the pair befriended another couple at the Sutra Lounge in Costa Mesa. 1:30 in the morning, they all went back to the Irvine home of Alonso's ex. Authorities say Alonso got into a verbal fight with her former boyfriend. At 3:45 in the morning, the other couple left. Shortly after, so did Alonso.
I knew he was with her last, so I, wanted to know. I was like, hey, she didn't go into work. He told me what had happened and that he hadn't heard from her since.
There has been no activity on Miss Alonso's bank accounts, her social media accounts, her cell phone account.
Also missing, Alonso's 2014 Honda Civic EX, California license plate 7FSS 563.
I know that she's out there somewhere. We have the hope that she's alive still. We need all the help that we can get.
Now, if you've seen Alonso or her vehicle, call the Orange County Sheriff's Department at 714-647-7000. Now, authorities say that they have talked with that other couple who Alonso met at the nightclub. They've also interviewed her ex-boyfriend. They say that they're all cooperating, and the information that they're providing checks out with what investigators have heard. So at this point, this remains a missing persons case, and they're following up on any new leads. In Santa Ana, Eileen Frere, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
The clock is ticking as we wait to hear whether Governor Jerry Brown will stop the release of a member of the Mexican mafia from prison. 52-year-old Rene Enriquez is serving a life sentence for drug dealing, gang rape, and murder. But the state parole board says he's now reformed and is set to be released on Sunday. Enriquez, now a valuable informant to gang investigators, say he has turned his life around. He frequently helps law enforcement agencies with training videos or as an expert witness. The governor's office says the deadline is Sunday, but that the decision is typically made before the close of business on the preceding Friday, which is today. A wife drowns in her pool in Lancaster, and it's caught on video. The husband now speaking out as authorities launch a death investigation. We get more from Eyewitness News reporter Leo Stallworth.
She was the reason why I wake up every morning she inspired me to be the best that I can.
Barry White says he can barely hold himself together after finding his wife Millie at the bottom of their pool Wednesday afternoon.
Well, she lost her brother 4 months ago. She lost her mom about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. I think that just crushed her. And she drowned in her pool. I came home and found her in the pool.
White is the self-proclaimed king of carpets. Does not know what happened. Detectives say there are possible suspicious circumstances, and they have launched a death investigation. White says his home surveillance cameras videotaped the tragedy.
You think she took her life?
I don't think she took her life. I think it just happened. I think God.
She was in the pool.
She was in the pool. She was swimming for hours, and she just kind of floated, and she might have fallen asleep. I'm not sure.
She was a pretty good swimmer.
She was a great swimmer. Yeah, she swam her whole life.
White says despite his overwhelming grief, he is going to perform in the annual Dancing with the Antelope Valley Stars show this weekend.
She knew I loved to dance. The dance is this Saturday night. And I didn't know if I had enough strength in my legs to do it. But I'm going to do it. She would be upset if I didn't do it. And so I'll be there Saturday night to dance with my wife.
Leo Starr with ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Well, it looks like things may finally start moving again at ports along the West Coast, including L.A. and Long Beach. Negotiators have agreed to a tentative contract for West Coast dock workers. The labor dispute has dragged out snarling trade at seaports that handle about $1 trillion worth of cargo each year. The agreement still has to be approved by the 13,000 members of International Longshore and Warehouse Union, which covers ports from San Diego to Seattle. From the auto industry, the agriculture to trucking, the dispute has created a major economic ripple effect. Now we've learned an 18-year-old student is one of the victims struggling to survive after the discovery of a deadly superbug at Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center. According to his attorney, he has spent nearly 3 months in the hospital and is said to be in grave condition. There are 7 confirmed cases and 2 deaths linked to the outbreak. Nearly 200 patients have been exposed to the drug-resistant bacteria known as CRE. The bug spread on contaminated scopes used during procedures between October and January. LA football fans could soon be getting their wish. 2 times 2. There's a new proposal calling for both the Chargers and the Raiders to play at the same stadium in Carson. It would be built off the 405 freeway and Del Amo Boulevard. Eyewitness News reporter Robert Olguin has details of the new plan and what people think of it in Oakland and San Diego.
This empty lot on the corner of the 405 and Del Amo Boulevard in Carson would be transformed into a state-of-the-art stadium, a gleaming glass and steel facility that would be home to the Raiders and the Chargers. And backers promised that the $1.7 billion price tag would not cost taxpayers a penny.
The new NFL stadium will be financed solely from the revenues generated by the stadium.
At a news conference in front of Carson City Hall this morning, backers of the proposed stadium unveiled their vision for a future with 2 professional football teams.
Welcome, Raiders! Welcome, Chargers! I'm rooting for Team Carson.
The 2 teams have signed for control of the 168-acre parcel where the stadium would be built, but the land itself is still owned by Starwood, a private development company. No one from either team spoke at today's event, but backers and city leaders remained optimistic that Carson has a viable chance of getting an NFL stadium.
The site is very centrally located to all of Southern California. It's got great freeway access and great local road access.
That was welcome news to the handful of football fans who were there to show support for the teams.
It's going to bring union jobs to our city, and I think it's a great thing for not only LA, but for the Raider organization.
But we've been here before. LA has no shortage of NFL stadium proposals, but supporters say Carson is different.
I don't want to compare what we're doing to what anybody else is doing. We know we have a mission to fulfill, and we're going to carry it out.
In a joint statement, the Chargers and Raiders say they're still working on getting new stadiums in their current markets, but both teams are keeping their options open. City leaders in San Diego were not pleased.
San Diegans deserve the team to stay here. We're going to continue to fight for that.
So what's next? Well, supporters here in Carson say they need to gather enough signatures to get the stadium initiative on a ballot. Then it would go to voters for approval, or city council could simply approve it. As to whether or not the NFL gets behind this plan, that remains to be seen. Reporting from Carson, Robert Olguin, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Well, of course, this isn't the only stadium proposal right now for the Los Angeles area. The Rams owner bought land at the former Hollywood Park facility in Inglewood and wants to build an 80,000-seat stadium there. AEG has a plan on the table to build a facility called Farmers Field in downtown L.A. And developers have proposed to build a 75,000-seat stadium in the City of Industry. It is official, Oscar weekend. In less than 48 hours, the Oscar ceremony will be well underway, and that means the pressure is on everyone who's working down at the Dolby Theater. Entertainment guru George Pedacchio is live in Hollywood with the latest. Hey, George.
Hi, David. You know, in the last hour we learned the workload here at Hollywood and Highland has increased, and that is because the rain temps are going up tonight. We're told there's a 40 to 60% chance there may be some rain, and it is not going to rain on anyone on this red carpet on Sunday. But there was a different kind of downpour happening today on the red carpet. It was hit with a lot of foot traffic, with journalists from all over the world showing up to begin their Oscar reporting. That also includes some very good professional photographers who may change the way you see Oscar Sunday. As we head into the home stretch of Oscar Week, the population of the red carpet arrivals area continues to grow. It's a journalistic jungle out here. For the construction crews, the end is near. But then it's just the beginning for a lot of folks covering the Oscars. This year, there's something new for fans who love to see all the flashy fashion photos and other Oscar-related photography. A new company, NewsCard, is allowing you to use its tens of millions of photos on several social media sites, including Facebook and Twitter.
Technology is changing our world, and the people that are successful are the ones that are trying to disrupt the way that business is currently being done. And it's either you wait for your business to fall apart, or you come up with something as it's crumbling that's going to be the next thing.
Something had to be done. And, you know, we were lucky enough to think of the idea and actually just go ahead and do it.
Everybody's been stealing photos. So now this is a way where people can legitimately share photos without stealing the photos.
NewsCard has a network of 20,000 plus photographers. Their work has appeared in publications all around the world. How many pictures are you taking on Sunday?
I would say roughly about 14,000 images.
Any celebrities photographed here, before they get to the end of that carpet, our images are out all over the world already.
And here's the kicker, something I did not expect to hear.
Costs absolutely nothing. The app is free, the website is free, going and browsing the photos and sharing the photos on social networks. All of it is free.
One social media site that NewsCard has not yet approved for free usage is Instagram. Live in Hollywood, George Pinocchio, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
All right, George, thank you. So let's talk to Jonathan Novak right now, because so many people are worried about the rain, Jonathan.
Well, it looks like the chance is still in there, David, unfortunately, and the timing is pretty much the same as we were looking at the last few days on Oscar Sunday. Live Mega Doppler 7000 HD. We're dry at the moment. Tomorrow looking dry, but here's the culprit. To the north, a trough low pressure that is digging in, and as it continues to do that over the next day, day and a half, we'll have a low area low pressure develop between here and San Francisco, and that's going to increase that onshore flow big time for Sunday. That means a really thick marine layer, and that means the chance of rain is in there for the Oscars. I will tell you how long that chance of rain lasts and how much we can expect on Sunday coming up in the full forecast.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Yep. Well, up next, an ABC News exclusive, a Southern California kidnapping victim rescued in the woods by the FBI. Surveillance video shows the moment they got to her. Plus, a close call in Michigan where a car slides on the ice headed straight toward a police officer. And a big honor as our documentary, Witness, The Legacy of Hard Mountain, is shown at the Smithsonian Institution. And we were there, and we'll give you a reaction. A year and a half after the FBI saved a San Diego teenager from her kidnapper, we're getting a look at exclusive video of the dangerous operation. Hannah Anderson was found in the Idaho wilderness 6 days after her mother and brother were murdered. ABC's Ted Rowlands shows us the dramatic rescue.
This incredible FBI video obtained exclusively by ABC News shows the dramatic rescue of Hannah Anderson. It was August 2013. 16-year-old Hannah had been abducted by 40-year-old James DiMaggio. Her mother and 8-year-old brother had been murdered, their bodies found in the family's burning home.
I'm begging you to let my daughter go. You've taken everything else.
Nearly 1,000 miles away, in the woods near Cascade, Idaho, a group of hikers on horseback think they see Hannah and DiMaggio.
The first positive lead we had.
An FBI surveillance plane spots a blue tent. Then Hannah and DiMaggio. At one point, while DiMaggio is tending a fire, Hannah starts waving. DiMaggio doesn't notice as she keeps waving. These campsite photographs show just how dangerous the situation is. DiMaggio has a rifle, a handgun, a machete, and handcuffs. Then, when DiMaggio goes to gather wood, the rescue team moves in.
That's when they made their last move, their final approach.
Hannah starts running. Then you can see as 2 FBI agents help her to safety, one of them grabbing Hannah's hand.
And we heard one down hard and jackpot. When we heard jackpot, it was an indication we knew that Hannah was okay.
DiMaggio was shot and killed at the scene. Hannah is now a high school senior living with her father in San Diego. Ted Rowlands, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Dramatic police dashcam video from Michigan shows just how dangerous it is to drive on icy roads. Take a look at the video of this Valentine's Day crash. A police officer was helping a driver who had slid off Interstate 75 near Detroit when another car lost control, striking both parked cars and the officer. The officer was taken to the hospital but is expected to make a full recovery. The ice out there is just terrible. Wow. It's amazing to see.
I have more images to show later on in the next forecast, but it's incredible. To shovel the snow off of a roof right now, in the Boston area, I know at least, it's astronomical. They're charging because they have rain coming, and if you have the rain on top of the snow on roofs, it's a disaster. It's a mess.
Oh, my gosh.
And so my mom paid $700 to get the snow.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, I'm going to show you the images from that a little bit later. For now, for us, we have maybe some rain of our own. Maybe not the best timing. Maybe actually probably the worst timing. And it's not going to be a lot of rain, but, you know, you got to have a good hair day on Oscar Sunday, and it looks like it won't be that. It will be just humid. It'll be drizzly. It'll be cloudy. Yeah, but it's not going to be a complete washout. And that's the good news. I'm trying to find a silver lining here. Live Megadolphin 7000 HD. We're dry right now, but look at the beautiful images. I love it. Laguna Beach, you guys give us the best sunsets here on our time-lapse camera. Whew, love that. The colors. So for this weekend, those clouds will be much thicker. 59 right now at LAX with some clouds out. Some clouds around Burbank, 60 degrees for you. It's actually a very steady 60 for most of us from Ojai to Van Nuys and Burbank, Ontario, LA. Lower 60 Santa Ana and San Clemente, and 62 Hemet, 73 Palm Springs. So this is the culprit. This is the non-movie fan, I guess. Mother Nature not really feeling it, I guess, this year again. And remember last year we had a similar situation, but we ended up dry. This is a trough of low pressure. Once again, it's going to be digging in as we go in through Sunday. Area low pressure that will move into about the center portion of the state and bring that risk of some showers developing. And this is what's going to happen. It's not going to be something where we see a lot of lift and we see showers and storms or anything. It's going to be a big onshore push. And that means the marine layer is going to thicken up enough where we see drizzle, and I'm talking a really thick marine layer, so plenty of clouds all weekend, especially on Sunday. This is 2 p.m. Yeah, right at 2 p.m. when festivities are sort of getting going, we see that rain chance move in and then spread around the area by 4 p.m. right before things are hyping up. So that would be the forecast. Now the question is, how much can we expect? Maybe a 1/10 of an inch in the LA area, a 1/4 of an inch in the foothills. So that's where the best chance is, in the foothills for real accumulations, but still kind of wet, damp, cool, and cloudy on Sunday. And then Monday, we'll continue it on and then dry it out for Tuesday into Friday with some 70s. Valleys, IE, again, a chance of rain for you is best in the foothills. That's going to be the place where we look to see maybe a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch of rain with this thick marine layer pushing all the way in, potentially even into the Antelope Valley, if you can believe that. 70s next week for you in the valleys and IE, by the way. Beach looks cool and cloudy and a little bit damp as well for Sunday into Monday. Temperatures in the 60s all next week, too. Mountains, snow, maybe Monday morning, I think maybe an inch or two above 6,500, 7,000 feet. 45 on Sunday. Look at the high on Monday, back into the 30s, 39 degrees, and then the high desert. Breezy, slight risk of a couple of showers for you as well, and then a cool weekend, and then mild next week. More weather coming up in a few minutes. I got those pictures, too, from Boston.
Looking forward to it, Jonathan. Thank you.
Yep.
Well, Eyewitness News has been given the rare privilege of becoming part of, quite literally, an American institution. Our documentary, Witness the Legacy of Heart Mountain, was featured last night at the Smithsonian Institution. It was part of a special ceremony in Washington, D.C. at the National Museum of American History, and I had the honor of taking part.
There are few places that provide a view of our world on a level with the Smithsonian Institution. It is a global icon that teaches and informs millions of people every year.
The Smithsonian is the largest museum complex in the world. We have 19 museums and research centers, and we really are responsible for increase in diffusion of knowledge. And here at the Museum of American History, one of the three largest Smithsonian museums, we're responsible for keeping the material record of the history of the American people.
You'll find a remarkable collection of pieces that tell the story of how our nation went from being a struggling colony to the most powerful country in the world. Pieces that show innovations that helped us in our daily life, to moments of crisis, like the hat President Lincoln wore the night he was assassinated. But as comprehensive as this remarkable collection is, the institution is striving to further tell the American story by discussing chapters that have often been shied away from in our history books.
Many Americans are not aware of the full extent to which Japanese Americans were actually interned during World War II in ways that were unfair to them and contrary to their citizenship. And yet many Japanese Americans went on to serve in the military with great distinction and honor.
The institution's enormous influence brought out a packed house on a night Washington, D.C. was enduring one of its coldest nights on record, with a wind chill well below zero. They watched our Legacy of Heart Mountain documentary, followed by a panel discussion with experts.
And that's why to this day, I cherish the word citizen.
Including Secretary Norman Mineta, the first Asian American to be a cabinet secretary and mayor of a major U.S. city. And the Smithsonian is striving to further expose this chapter in our history by planning more exhibits.
It's not just the Asian American Pacific Islander story, but it's the American story.
Even though this dark moment in our history was 70 years ago, its lessons of hate, racial profiling, and the protection of our civil rights are as relevant today as the day it happened.
And our thanks to the Smithsonian for this remarkable honor. And despite the 20 below wind chill, walking through those doors and being part of this great institution was a real privilege, and I'll never forget it. It was a great experience. Up next, the community demanding answers after that refinery explosion in Torrance, plus why an airbag manufacturer is being hit with massive fines, and the desperate search for three girls from England believed to be on their way to join ISIS. A town hall meeting is underway to discuss the refinery explosion in Torrance. This as we're learning that a shutdown order was issued by Cal OSHA on the fluid catalytic cracking unit at the ExxonMobil refinery, citing dangerous conditions. 4 contractors were injured when a piece of equipment exploded on Wednesday. ExxonMobil says it's cooperating with investigators to determine exactly what caused this incident. And a major manufacturer of car airbags will be fined $14,000 a day by the U.S. government for failing to cooperate in an ongoing safety investigation. The Japanese company Takata makes airbags used by 10 auto companies. The Transportation Department says the bags can explode with too much force and have been linked to at least 6 deaths and dozens of injuries. The Transportation Secretary called Takata a, quote, bad actor and says the fines could increase. Takata issued a statement saying it was surprised and disappointed by the decision and denying that it has been uncooperative. We're updating the evening's top stories next at 7:30, including the search for an Orange County woman missing since Valentine's Day. Plus, a woman says her confrontation with Riverside police put her in a wheelchair. What she now wants from the department and the city is an Eyewitness News exclusive. And what? An inferno. A skyscraper goes up in flames in Dubai. Thousands of people are evacuated. The very latest.
Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 7:30 p.m. on LA56.
Top story at 7:30, the mysterious disappearance of a Laguna Hills woman on Valentine's weekend. Family members are desperate to find her. Hello, I'm David Ona. This is Eyewitness News on LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. Orange County Sheriff's investigators say 27-year-old Erica Alonzo hasn't been seen or heard from since early Sunday morning. They say she went on a date with her ex-boyfriend Saturday night. The two apparently made friends with another couple at a nightclub and went back to the ex-boyfriend's Irvine home. Investigators say Alonso and the ex-boyfriend began arguing, and the other couple left just before 4 o'clock in the morning. There has been no trace of Alonso or her car since. Could the San Diego Chargers and Oakland Raiders be coming to the Los Angeles area? A new plan was announced today to build a stadium in Carson that would house both teams. Of course, no deal is in place. The two NFL teams are still working with their prospective cities on new stadium deals, but if they were to fall through, the stadium in Carson could be a viable option. And a woman says a police officer slammed her to the ground and punched her in the face after she was hit by an alleged drunk driver. She's accusing Riverside police of using excessive force, but the Riverside Police Department says the incident was handled appropriately. It even turned over audio recordings and dash cam video. In this Eyewitness News exclusive, Inland Empire Bureau Chief Rob McMillan spoke to the woman making the claims and has the department's recordings.
I wake up crying, I go to sleep crying. In the middle of the night, I cry.
Taisha Calhoun says her injuries are severe. She says it's a case of excessive force by police.
I have a plate and 6 screws in my leg, and I've never broken a bone before.
How long till you might be walking?
8 months.
It happened on January 7th. Calhoun was driving here on Troutwine at the intersection of JFK in Riverside when she was hit by an alleged drunk driver. This is the 911 call.
A drunk driver just hit the back of my car.
Besides calling police, Calhoun calls her family, and several family members show up at the scene. That's when she says, for no reason at all, one police officer starts to become aggressive.
He just went from being a police officer to being a butt.
So she calls 911 again, which she claims upsets that officer even more.
He told me to shut my black ass up because I was on the phone calling the police on the police.
That's when she says they all tried to leave the scene, and officers tried to arrest them.
He just ran from behind and snatched me from the back of my hair. I didn't even see him coming because my back was to him. He slammed me on the floor. He called me a black bitch.
Calhoun is in the process of filing a $10 million claim against the Riverside Police Department. That's the first step before a lawsuit. In it, among other things, she claims the officer began punching her in the face, and she recalls passing out several times. In response to our questions, the police department gave us access to what they say are all the audio and dashcam recordings made during the incident. This includes 3 911 calls and 13 audio recordings made by police officer belt recorders. We watched all the video and listened to all of the audio, close to 3 hours of it. Officers have discretion when it comes to using belt recorders. In this case, it appears they start recording when they tell Calhoun that they're going to impound her car because she was driving with a suspended license. DMV records do show her license suspended since 2012, but that's when things go south. Even though she told us she was driving that night, on the recording she tells police that she wasn't driving the car.
I know proof I was driving. Proof I was driving. Prove it. Prove it. Back up. I wasn't driving.
Among the recordings are witness accounts of what happened, including one of the paramedics, who told police that Calhoun actually got back into the car at one point and started it as if to drive off.
Ma'am, don't go in the car. Ma'am. You can't go in the car either.
The paramedic says police pulled her out of the car and tried to arrest her, but she walked away. When police tried to arrest her again, the paramedic says she struggles, and when her sister tries to pull her away from the officer, this happens. It's unclear from the recordings exactly when Calhoun got hurt. She and her sister were both arrested for battery on a peace officer, among other things. Her brother Jamar was arrested for resisting. He's the one lying on the sidewalk in this dashcam video. He was interviewed by police afterwards.
Once he tried to handcuff you, and at that point, we could have sorted this all out, but then everybody starts grabbing everybody, pushing officers and stuff. We can't have that.
Yeah, I totally get you.
Does that make sense?
Totally understand. Yeah. Could have been easily avoided.
It's not clear at what point the alleged name-calling happened, but we did not hear any racial slurs on the audio recordings we were given, nor do any of the family members make claims about racial slurs in the audio recordings of their follow-up interviews.
I don't want people to think that they have to be scared of the police because of what happened to me. But at the same time, you just can't trust everyone.
So far, no charges have been filed against Calhoun or any of the family members, but the DA is still investigating. The Riverside Police Department was unable to go on camera with us because of a pending $10 million claim made against the city. But they say that an internal investigation was conducted, and they believe the entire incident was handled appropriately. In Riverside, Rob McMillan, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Calhoun's attorney, Peter Carr, issued this statement on the belt recordings. Quote, "We have not yet had the opportunity to review all of the evidence in this case, including the belt recordings. Upon review of all of the evidence, we are confident that the evidence will show the force used on this young lady was unnecessary, unreasonable, and unlawful." End quote. Calhoun's attorney filed the original claim with the wrong entity and says he is filing the claim with the city of Riverside today. So we have puzzling new details. They're emerging in the killing of a Las Vegas mother following an incident of road rage. The arrest of 19-year-old Eric Nausch was captured on a neighbor's surveillance camera. He's suspected of shooting and killing Tammy Myers last week. Police say he even boasted about it to friends. Initially, this was believed to be a random case of road rage, but we're learning the victim knew Nausch and had even counseled him. Exactly what happened is still unclear. Police say there was some type of encounter on the road and that Myers and her adult son, who was armed, went looking for the other driver. Police say Nausch followed them home and then shot Myers in her driveway. A raging fire is forcing the evacuation of thousands of people from one of the world's tallest residential buildings. This is a scene in Dubai. Initial reports say the fire started on the 50th floor and high winds are causing it to spread rapidly. The 79-story building is 1,100 feet tall. There's no word yet on how the fire started or if anyone has been injured. Tonight, investigators in England say that they believe 3 missing teenage girls are on their way to Syria via Turkey to join ISIS. Officials are using social media to persuade the teens to return to England before they cross the border. ABC's Karen Travers has a story.
The hunt is on for these 3 young girls. Scotland Yard has issued an urgent appeal for the London teenagers seen in the surveillance video. They were reported missing by their families earlier this week, and law enforcement officials believe they may be heading to Syria via Turkey and trying to link up with ISIS fighters.
We would appeal to anyone that's information to either here or in Turkey to go to the police.
The girls, 2 15-year-olds and a 16-year-old, are close friends from the same East London school. 2 are of Bangladeshi background, 1 Ethiopian. British officials say they don't know if the girls made contact with any radical extremists in person or through social media.
All we know is that the 3 girls have travelled of their own volition against the wishes of their parents without telling their parents. And they're in danger.
This scenario is exactly what U.S. officials have been warning about. Terror groups recruiting vulnerable young people with false promises and slick videos. President Obama said yesterday that's why it's not enough to confront ISIS with just a military response.
When people, especially young people, feel entirely trapped in impoverished communities, that feeds instability and disorder and makes those communities ripe for extremist recruitment.
3 young American girls who tried to make that same trip into Syria last fall were found in Germany and returned to their parents. British officials say they hope these girls are found before they cross the Syrian border. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
Well, the fate of 2 girls accused of stabbing a friend to impress the fictional character Slender Man is now in the hands of a judge. Up next, a first look at the police interrogation video of the girls as they describe their incredibly violent tale. Plus, one man's personal quest to ride his bike all the way to Brazil, to the Brazil Olympics, that is, from his home in China.
In space. Jonathan Novak here. We're talking rain for the weekend. Looks like maybe the Oscars could be a little damp. I'll tell you about the chances of that happening coming up in your 7-day forecast.
Tonight, a judge in Wisconsin is deciding whether two young girls, 12 at the time, should be tried as adults. Authorities say they lured their friend into the woods and attacked her, all to impress a fictional character on the internet called Slender Man. Tonight, the interrogation tapes with those girls in a very matter-of-fact way, describing what they did and why. ABC's David Muir reports.
Tonight, like much of this country, it is a snowy and frigid Friday night in Waukesha, Wisconsin, where this week an entire community was stunned all over again, hearing for the first time from two girls in their own voices about the night they allegedly lured their friend into the woods, just 12 years old, and stabbed her 19 times. Listen to what Morgan Geyser, just 12 at the time, tells an investigator about the victim, her friend, the same young girl they left for dead in those woods.
She was my only friend for a long time because... Why would you hurt your only friend? It was necessary.
And for the first time, we also hear from Anissa Wire, also 12 at the time, her face blurred, the court ordering both of their faces hidden.
I said, I'm scared. I was told that if I didn't do something, my family would be in danger.
Who and what were they scared of? The girls say Slender Man, a fictional character on the internet.
Who's Slender Man? He's this tall, faceless man who preys on children. Ever met him? Not exactly. Tell me about him. He watches you.
We have spent months documenting the victim's recovery. Her mother, knowing that her daughter Peyton survived crawling out of those woods, stunned because one of those girls had come over often for sleepovers.
Police say Morgan said, "It was weird that I didn't feel remorse."
Yeah.
This was a girl who had been in your home many, many times. That line, "It was weird that I didn't feel remorse."
That was hard to read because I thought that she really cared about Peyton as a person and they were good friends.
Again, that was ABC's David Muir reporting. Well, he's known as the Olympic rickshaw rider, a farmer who never even left his hometown in China until 2001, is riding his bike all the way to Brazil for the 2016 Summer Olympics. Chen Guanming passed through Northern California yesterday. He's already traveled more than 80,000 miles on 3 wheels. The tricycle isn't just transportation, it's also where he sleeps and he eats. This isn't the first time Ming has pulled a stunt like this. He has also biked to the 2008 and 2012 games, and he hopes to attend the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. Good luck to him. Jonathan Novak has your complete Oscar weekend forecast coming up next. Plus, it's really going to go down. Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao have finally agreed to get it on. Details in sports and this story.
A Southern California university is offering classes on how to make your own craft beer. I'm Sid Garcia, Cal Poly Pomona. That story coming up.
I had a pleasant little walk in Washington, D.C. last night, about midnight, about 20 below. Couldn't find a cab. Let me tell you, it's an education to stand out there for 10 seconons.
Brave man. Brave man. You got some burned skin up here now. It's like that's the stuff will give you frostbite. In fact, it was 35 below in the Buffalo area for the wind chill last night. Boston, we've been talking about the snow, and we've been showing you pictures at home, my house back home in Boston, and this was the before. This is the porch. This is sent in from my mom. I'm going to show you. What did I tell you, David? It was about $700 to clear the snow off the roofs.
Yeah.
Wow. 6 guys, 3 hours it took to get all the snow out, and this is one of them right there on the roof. Now, what you just saw was the top of the railing of the porch, so that's right here. So that actually just kind of came right around. That's where you saw that last picture. So that is up here. Here's a barbecue, and it's above, just a little bit above that level. So imagine it's right about here, right? Wow. And again, I'm 6 foot. Something like that. So, well, you don't laugh. Everybody's laughing. Don't laugh at that. Here's the problem. They've got more precipitation for the weekend, Saturday into Sunday, and maybe a mix or some rain, and you get all that into the snow. It weighs down, and you've got 4 feet of snow on a roof. It's going to collapse. And so they got to get that off the roofs over there, and unfortunately, it's got to be done. And so, yeah, it's going to cost a lot, I guess. Live Make It All for 7,000 HD locally. It is dry, but we're going to change that for us as well this weekend. Chance of rain in store. Beautiful sunset from Angeles National Forest as we head into the weekend with the clouds thickening up. And they're keeping things very mild, cool in the afternoon, mild in the mornings. And right now we're staying right around 60 at the moment, pretty much area-wide. 64, Santa Clarita. And the reason we're seeing this change in the weather is this trough of low pressure that's digging in. You see this right here, this dip right in the atmosphere? That's going to continue to dig into the central portion of the state. An area of low pressure right here is going to be developing over the next 24 hours. That's going to create a very strong onshore flow that's going to bring that marine layer all the way in potentially to the Antelope Valley. Rain chances on the increase when? Sunday. This is bringing it through Sunday 2 p.m. That's when you see the green start showing up on the forecast for the future rainfall through about 4 p.m. What you're seeing here is a lot of green. You're not seeing any yellows or reds. That's good. That means at least it's not going to be very heavy rain. We could see maybe 1/10 of an inch in the LA area. The foothills have the better chance for real accumulations, about 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch. Nevertheless, clouds, a little damp and cooler for the Oscars. Bring the umbrella, whatever you got to do for the keep the hair intact. Saturday and Sunday this weekend are looking cool and cloudy, and then again a little bit of rain on Sunday and Monday. And Tuesday on looks pretty good with temperatures back into the 70s. Same for the valleys, i.e. you have a cool weekend, and the chance of rain is best in the foothills, 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch possible accumulating. And when it's just coming from a marine layer, that's pretty significant in terms of just the cloud cover being that thick that it allows for that much to accumulate. The beaches are looking cool and cloudy this weekend, a few showers around for you as well. And then the mountains, snow. Maybe, especially Monday morning, maybe an inch or two, accumulating about 7,000 feet and above. Temperature is definitely going to be dipping down. This is coming from the north, this system, so we'll get some cooler air in there for you. 39 on Monday for you. High desert's going to be a coolish weekend and breezy for you, a slim chance of some drizzle for you as well in the high desert. Dallas is going to have more on ABC7 at 11.
All right, Jonathan.
$700 to clear the roof.
That is unbelievable. Look, let's not complain about the drizzle on Sunday if it comes. True. Considering all the stuff that other folks are dealing with. Thanks, Jonathan.
Yep.
Well, after limping into the All-Star break with 6 straight losses, the Lakers will try and turn around their fortunes tonight when they host Brooklyn at Staples. The Purple and Gold are 5 games worse than they were at this time last year, and they sit 3 games ahead of New York for the worst record in the league. And we'll have your highlights tonight with this news at 11 p.m. on ABC7. Big news in the boxing world as the Floyd Mayweather-Manny Pacquiao fight is on. It's been a 5-year wait, but the two agreed to square off in Las Vegas on May 2nd. It'll almost surely break every financial record ever. Mayweather will cash in the most. He could earn an estimated $120 million for this fight or more, while the Pac-Man, his split of the purse will be around $80 million, so not too bad for either fighter. 2 days before the Daytona 500, NASCAR has suspended Kurt Busch indefinitely for actions detrimental to stock car racing after it was ruled that he smashed ex-girlfriend Patricia Driscoll's head against his motorhome in September. The 2004 Cup champion claims his ex-girlfriend Patricia Driscoll came to his trailer uninvited after the couple broke up a week earlier, and he cupped her face with his hands while repeatedly asking her to leave. Busch was scheduled to race Sunday, where he qualified 24th at Daytona. Despite temperatures in the high 70s, it was snowing at the Rose Bowl. Well, sort of. Crews started packing tons and tons of snow to cover the ramps for Shaun White's Air and Style. The event will take place over the weekend. Air and Style combines the best of snowboarding and skiing with a music concert to serve as a side dish.
The biggest names are Kendrick Lamar and Steve Aoki, who will be performing on this stage behind me, and then we have a second stage on the other side of the stadium, and competition gets underway tomorrow. And of course we have Shaun White here that can mingle with the crowds and the kids. A lot of Olympians.
Big Air and Style goes from noon till 11 p.m. tomorrow and Sunday at the Rose Bowl. Well, it just may be a college student's dream come true. Cal Poly Pomona is now brewing its own beer. Students can even sign up for a beer-making class. And Eyewitness News reporter Sid Garcia takes us inside the campus brewery.
Instead of tapping kegs, college students will be able to learn how to make their own brew and put it on tap at Cal Poly Pomona. The university hopes microbreweries in the area will tap into their talent pool once students become certified brewmasters.
If this is an educational facility, I would like to have everyone be able to come in and try a different style of beer instead of 4 of the same, 4 IPAs, 4 Belgians. I wanted to do a nice spectrum of beer, color, flavors, so you can see what truly is out there.
This idea has been brewing for a year and a half. With a $700,000 investment, some coming from private donations, the brewery is up and running. Don't think of this as a place to come and party. It's not.
What we're doing here is we're developing a series of beers with a bunch of different flavor profiles to educate our students. That's the big difference. This is not a party house.
It's not about mass drinking. It's not about getting drunk. It's about enjoying a good beer, kind of like wine or any other top-end alcohol.
Some of the ingredients needed for brewing are grown on the university farms. The leftover grains aren't thrown away. They go straight to the cows that are being raised on campus. Cal Poly doesn't offer a degree in making beer, but the university says hopefully this fall it'll be a class that'll earn you credits towards graduation.
It sounds like a really interesting idea, especially, teaching chemistry on top of it. I mean, that sounds like a really cool combination to me.
Cal Poly says you have to be 21 to take the course. That's so you can taste your classwork. Sid Garcia, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
More news straight ahead here at 7:30, and ahead tonight at Eyewitness News at 11 o'clock on ABC7. 1 minute a policewoman is interviewing a suspect. The next minute she is fighting for her life. One of the tallest towers in the world caught fire. Thousands of people were forced to run for their lives. How safe are the world's tallest buildings? These stories and all the late-breaking news in Southern California's #1 late newscast. Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7. Across the country, many people are getting sick of the snow, but these furry residents of the Cincinnati Zoo can't get enough of it. It is adorable, that guy and his hind feet. A keeper captured this adorable video of the two red pandas having the time of their lives, prancing around in their very own winter wonderland. Red pandas are natives of the Himalayas, so they're used to the cold weather. Obviously, they'd love to have it like that 24 hours a day, every day of the year. Thanks for joining us for Eyewitness News at 7:30 on LA56. Law and Order SVU is coming up next on LA56. Good night.